And then before we vote, we'll have a round of board discussion. If anybody wants to have any comments. There are no blue cards, correct? That saves a lot of time. Good. So we'll have a round of board discussion before we vote, but I'm just going to go over what we're about to do. So we have 5 candidates. Everybody's going to vote for one candidate. Everybody's going to get one vote. You're going to call out the name you're voting for as we go. There's a possibility of ties. If there are ties, we're going to take only, if there's a tie for last, we're going to take only the people in the tie, and we're going to vote on those people to decide who stays in. Aside from that, if anybody gets 8 votes, that's the superintendent. If no one gets 8 votes, the lowest candidate is eliminated, and we vote again. Does that make sense to everybody? We'll get through it. One thing we're not going to do, Mr. Bourne, you have to bear with us on this. We're not going to hurry. We're not going to rush. We're going to take the time to keep up with what's going on and make sure we don't have any mistakes. Okay, so I'm not going to be rushed into voting. We're going to take whatever time it needs for everybody to know where we're at, and we're not going to rush it. That being said, open to board discussion. Anybody have comments? That is going to say a lot. Mr. Bro? No? No? That makes it very easy. If there's no comments, regarding the vote. Not the procedure. The procedure's not, if you have questions about the procedures, I'll answer them, but we're not changing the procedure. So, you have any questions about the procedure? Okay, so then comments or questions about the candidates? Go ahead.
We're in a unique position.
Is your mic on?
We're in a unique position where we had a lot of people that had applied, and we narrowed it down to 5. All 5 of these, within their own right, are phenomenal applicants. I don't know how it's gonna work out tonight, but y'all all did a good job during the interview process. I was impressed with everybody, the things that we heard, the plans you kinda had, the way that you kinda answered the questions. I've been through this several times, and I think this is the best applicant field overall that we've had. So, in a lot of that, I know we had 4 of them within and 1 of them without, even, the one that's outside did a phenomenal job. That doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, I think, however this ends up in the long run, I think that the system and the students are gonna benefit from this. So I'm good.
Anybody else? I would definitely echo Mr. Bro's comments there. I think we all feel that way. We got some good candidates and a tough choice, and I think everybody up here would agree with everybody that has said something to that effect. I'm gonna be fine working with any of these guys. So if there's no other comments, we'll get started. What's that? No, this is gonna be like we always vote, which is we're gonna vote like we always vote. It's gonna be alphabetical order by last name, just like we always vote. Go ahead, Mr. Bourne.
Okay. So round 1 voting, we have 5 candidates. Just to remind everybody: Max Calderera, Owen Clinton, Dr. Stanton Lawrence, Tony McCarroll, and Dr. Jason Van Meter. Everybody gets 1 vote, so I call your name, tell me 1 name. Ms. Ayo.
Dr. Jason Van Meter.
Mr. Baumgartner.
Max Calderera.
Mr. Broke.
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Castillo.
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Fontenot.
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Gay.
Dr. Lawrence Stanton.
Mr. Hardesty.
Max Calderera.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds.
Mr. Tony McCarroll.
Mr. Natale.
Mr. Tony McCarty.
Mr. O'Banion.
Tony McCarthy.
Mr. Pichon.
Tony McCarthy.
Mr. Roberts.
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Tarver.
Owen Clinton.
Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Tony McCarroll.
Dr. Washington.
Mr. Tony McCarthy.
Okay, the vote counts were Mr. Caldera, 2, Owen Clanton, 1, Dr. Lawrence, 1, Tony McCarville, 6, Dr. Van Meter, 5. Therefore, Mr. Clanton and Dr. Lawrence are the two lowest vote getters, so we have a tie for the bottom, so we have a tiebreak vote for that.
So we're voting between Mr. Clinton and Dr. Lawrence,
Correct.
just for clarification. Owen Clinton, Stan Lawrence. There's 15 of us, so there can't be a tie. Hiring will go on, Laura will be eliminated.
Okay, so you'll vote, one person, one vote for either Owen Clanton or Dr. Stanton Lawrence to move on to the next round. Ms. Ayo,
Owen Clanton.
Mr. Baumgartner,
Owen Clanton.
Mr. Bro,
Owen Clanton.
Mr. Castillo,
Owen Clanton.
Mr. Fontenot, excuse me, Ms. Fontenot, sorry. I'm sorry, what was your vote?
Clinton,
Clanton? Thank you. Ms. Gay,
Lawrence,
Mr. Hardesty,
Owen Clanton.
Ms. McReynolds,
Dr. Lawrence.
Mr. Natale,
Mr. Clanton.
Mr. O'Banion,
Mr. Clanton.
Mr. Pichon,
Mr. Clanton.
Mr. Roberts,
Mr. Clanton.
Mr. Tarver,
Mr. Clinton,
Mr. Wallace,
Dr. Lawrence Stanton. Stanton Lawrence, excuse me.
Dr. Washington,
Dr. Stanton Lawrence.
11-4 for Mr. Clanton. Dr. Lawrence is eliminated. In round 2, remaining 4 candidates are Max Caldera, Owen Clanton, Tony McCardle, Dr. Jason Van Meter. Any questions or ready to proceed?
everybody okay? Okay, go ahead.
Vote for one of the remaining candidates. Ms. Ayo,
Dr. Jason Van Meter.
Mr. Baumgartner,
Max Caldera.
Mr. Bro,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Castillo,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Fontenot,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Gay,
Tony McCardle,
Mr. Hardesty,
Max Caldera.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds,
Mr. Tony McCardle.
Mr. Natale,
Mr. McCardle.
Mr. O'Banion,
Mr. McCardle.
Mr. Pichon,
Mr. McCardle.
Mr. Roberts,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Tarver,
Mr. Clinton,
Mr. Wallace,
Mr. McCardle.
Dr. Washington,
Mr. McCardle,
vote totals, Mr. Caldera 2, Owen Clanton 1, Mr. McCardle 7, Dr. Van Meter 5, Mr. Clanton is eliminated. Any questions?
Go ahead and read the three that are still in.
Okay, the remaining candidates are Mr. Caldera, Mr. McCardle, and Dr. Van Meter. Ms. Ayo,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Baumgartner,
Max Caldera.
Mr. Bro,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Castillo,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Fontenot, Ms. Gay,
Tony McCardle,
Mr. Hardesty,
Max Caldera.
Ms. McReynolds,
Mr. Tony McCardle.
Mr. Natale,
Tony McCardle.
Mr. O'Banion,
Mr. McCardle.
Mr. Pichon,
Tony McCardle.
Mr. Roberts,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr.
McCarter.
The vote totals were Mr. Caldera 2, Mr. McCardle 7, Dr. Van Meter 6. Mr. Caldera is eliminated. The final two candidates are Mr. McCardle and Dr. Van Meter. Vote for one candidate. Ready?
Everybody good? Okay.
Ms. Ayo,
Dr. Jason Van Meter.
Mr. Baumgartner,
Dr. Jason Van Meter.
Mr. Bro,
Dr. Van Buren.
Mr. Castillo,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Fonda,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. Gay,
Tony McCardle.
Mr. Hardesty,
Dr. Van Meter.
Ms. McReynolds,
Mr. Tony McCardle.
Mr. Natale,
Tony McCord.
Mr. O'Banion,
Tony McCardle.
Mr. Pichon,
Tony McCardle.
Mr. Roberts,
Dr. Van Meter.
Mr. Tarver,
Van Meter.
Mr. Wallace,
Mr. McCardle.
Dr. Washington,
Mr. McCardle.
vote totals of Mr. McCardle 7, Dr. Van Meter 8.